When a subclass inherits from a superclass, not everything is inherited. Constructors are not technically members of a class, and therefore they are not inherited. All the public and protected methods and fields in a superclass, those are indeed inherited, but the private methods and fields are not. Also, if there are any final methods, meaning methods that have the word final in the header, these are inherited but cannot be overwritten. Let's look at this. In the square class, we were able to use the fields side and length because we inherit them from rectangle. The reason we were able to inherit them is because they're marked as protected. So if they're marked as protected or public or no marking, then we'll be able to inherit them. However, let's make one of these as private. Let's make fields private. Notice now in square we have an error that says this has private access, and therefore we didn't inherit it and we cannot use it. One more thing about the access modifiers. Notice here for this method, calculate perimeter. It has a public access modifier. So when we inherited this, we had to declare it as public. If we were to try to declare it as anything stricter, we would get an error. For example, let's try to make this protected. Notice here the error says that this clashes because it's attempting to assign weaker access privileges. So this is not allowed. Now it doesn't mean we can't change it at all, but it just cannot be weaker. For example, let's say in the superclass, instead of this being public, it was protected. So when we try to override it here, we have it protected here in the parent class, but in the subclass, we've made it public. This is fine and it's allowed. Java classes can only directly inherit from one superclass. However, a superclass can also inherit from another class, thus forming a chain of inheritance where the subclass inherits from their ancestor classes as well. For example, Java provides an object class in which all other classes in Java, whether it's created by Java or created by you, it inherits from the object class, even if not explicitly. Let's look at our person class again. We'll create a woman class which inherits from person, and then let's also create a mother class which inherits from woman. Okay, so we'll inherit from person, and in our constructor, let's go ahead and set the gender. And then we'll create a class for mother. And mother will extend from woman. Now let's test our chain of inheritance out. So we'll create a mother. And notice that we can set the name on mom, even though that's not in the mother class, nor is it in the woman class, but it's in the person class. And we've inherited through that ancestor. So my mom's name is Glenda. Now we can go ahead and print mom's name and gender. The name we got from the person class, the gender we got from the woman's class. Print it, and voila. Now notice we have woman that inherits from person. We also have employee that inherits from person. However, there's no relationship at all between employee and woman. Even though they both have the same parent, don't think of them as siblings or anything of the sort. They have no connection. For your optional exercise, you're going to create 4 classes. The first one is going to be a super class called Cake, and it'll have 2 fields, flavor and price. Go ahead and make getter and setter methods for both of these fields. Next, create a birthday cake class, which will inherit from the cake class, and it has a field of its own called candles. Go ahead and include the getter and setter method for candles. And then create a third class called wedding cake, which also inherits from cake and has a field called tears, and you'll include a getter and setter method for this. And then finally, a class called taste tester, which will test out your inheritance. Good luck!